everyone, welcome back to my kitchen. I'm really excited that you're joining me today. I'm actually making a dish that's really special for me. It truly reminds me of home and family, and I think it's perfect for the Chicago weather that we're experiencing right now because it's freezing outside. So what I'm making is a sancocho. It's a meat stew made with, of course, meat, and then whatever other vegetables you have available. I know this is a dish that's not only common in Puerto Rico, but it's really common across Latin America and the Caribbean. So I've seen it made with a lot of different ingredients, but the base is pretty much the same. The way you prepare the meat, that doesn't really change. And there are some vegetables that are really common to it, and you'll also see those present across the different variations of the dish. So the first vegetable, and this is one that you'll always see present in a sancocho, is corn. I got frozen corn. It's not corn season anymore, so I figured I'll just get frozen corn. It's already cut into small pieces, so whatever I don't use, I'll just freeze. The other ingredient that's pretty common in a sancocho is carrot. I have 4 carrots here. I have to wash and peel them. Then we're gonna cut these into smaller pieces. And then there's pumpkin. I tried to get a pumpkin that looked the most like the pumpkins that we have back home. And I know it's really hard here in the United States because you have all these variations of pumpkins and squashes, and what you consider a pumpkin isn't what we call a pumpkin back home. So I don't think you call this a pumpkin, but I cut into it and it looks like what we call a pumpkin back home. So this is what we're using. We have 1 potato. You can use more potatoes. A lot of recipes call for more potatoes. I don't like that many potatoes in my sancocho. I rather use other root vegetables. So here is a yuca. I think that's what you call it in English too. It's a starchy root. It tastes really good. And then this is according to the grocery store, this is a white yam. I looked it up and it's what we call in Spanish a ñame. So I was really excited to get this. If you don't find these vegetables at your local grocery store, you can substitute with other vegetables. So it's really easy to use just more potatoes. You can use plantains. You can use other roots that I'm going to mention in Spanish and then I'll translate here. But you can use malanga. You can use guineitos. So whatever vegetables that you have that you can toss in a stew, that's what you want to use. And before I forget, we're gonna use some seasoning. I have some tomato sauce, and I also have some sofrito. It's in the fridge. I won't take that out until we're putting the sancocho together. The first thing that we have to do is boil the meat. You have to boil it. You have to make sure that it softens before you actually put the soup together. I'm seeing the light change. The sun is coming out and I have the windows right in front of me, so I'm probably gonna get really bright here in just a second, but it's gonna move. So what I have here is about 1.5 pounds of stew meat. I seasoned it last night, put it in the fridge, and then I took it out this morning when I knew I was making the sancocho. I have about 4 cups of water about boiling here. I only used adobo. I didn't use anything else. If you don't have adobo, you can use salt and pepper. You can use some onion powder, some garlic powder. I want the meat to be flavored, of course. And I also want the meat to flavor the water. And I'm going to try and save some of the water from the meat to use in the sancocho. We're just trying to get a lot of flavor going here, right? We don't want anything to be unseasoned and bland. This is going to boil for about 45 minutes to an hour. While the meat cooks, I'm going to go ahead and just peel and chop all of my veggies. I'll show you the size of the vegetables once I start cutting them. I'm done. The vegetables are ready. This is my veggie mountain. Again, I have what seems to be too much for a soup for two. This is probably gonna last me the whole week, but I'm fine with that. All of my veggies are there. You just saw me cutting the corn in half. I thought that those big pieces, like this would be too big, so it would be better to have tiny halves. And so now I have 6 of these. My meat is done. I already turned it off. I'm going to go ahead and remove the meat from the pot, and I'm going to save some of the water. I think I mentioned this at the beginning. That's why I season the meat, and I make sure that everything in here has a lot of flavor, because I'm going to use some of this water as broth for the sancocho. I'm going to save 3 cups of this broth. Now we're ready to finally start putting together the sancocho. And the first thing we're gonna do is turn the stove back on. It's on medium heat. There's nothing in the pot right now, so I'm gonna go ahead and add 2 tablespoons of sofrito. This is what my sofrito looks like. I make it ahead of time and I freeze it in 2 tablespoon cubes, so I know how much I have. But if you don't have sofrito, that's fine. Sofrito is just a mixture of onions, tomatoes, peppers, no seasoning, so we don't season the sofrito. This is just onions, tomatoes, peppers, and sometimes you use cilantro, sometimes you use recao. It depends what you find in the market. If you don't have sofrito, just chop some onions, mash some garlic, and toss it in there. While my sofrito is in here, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of tomato sauce. And if you're following a recipe, and I learned this through experience, if the recipe calls for more than, I would say for more than 3 tablespoons of tomato sauce, maybe don't trust that recipe. Tomato sauce is really strong, and some recipes will really go overboard. They'll say use a 1/4 cup of tomato sauce, 1/3 of a cup of tomato sauce. That is too much tomato sauce. You really only need 2 tablespoons, max 3. Well, now I'm adding a pack of Goya seasoning, and I'm going ahead and adding 2. I have one that has achote, which it just adds coloring, and one that doesn't. This is what it looks like. It's very dark red. It gets the color from the sauce and the sazon, but it smells incredibly good. Now what I'm going to do is add the meat back in the pot. I'm going to add some of the broth and start adding the vegetables. I need a bigger pot. I can do this. Right now there's a total of 3 cups of broth and 3 cups of water. I might have to use a little bit more water after this simmers. We'll see. I have to mix this. I know it seems like it doesn't fit, but I haven't really mixed it in, so the veggies haven't really settled. Pro tip, once you empty the can, you can grab some of the water from the soup, the sauce, whatever you're making, and use it to sort of wash the can. My grandma always used to do this. I just turned the heat up. I'm waiting for it to start boiling. Once it reaches a boil, I'm going to turn it down and let it simmer for about 20 minutes. In 20 minutes, I'll come back and I'll stir it. And by 20 minutes, everything should be sort of falling into place, and it won't look like the pot is overflowing and it doesn't fit. The corn, it'll be done really fast. I don't have to add it in there right now, and it doesn't fit. Our sancocho is done. So we're ready to eat this. You can let this boil or not boil, you can let this simmer for a little bit longer if you want it to be thicker. If you're happy with the consistency it has right now, you can just go ahead and serve it. It smells incredibly good in here. I tried it while it was simmering. I just wanted to make sure that the flavors were okay, and it needed a little bit more seasoning. So I actually added another pack of sazon. This is a dish that's honestly perfect for any day. When I used to eat this in Puerto Rico, it was always hot in Puerto Rico. I mean, even on the cold days, it was hot. You can make this with some white rice. You can add avocado to it. I know in some other countries, like in Venezuela, I know they add some lime to the sancocho. I'm just gonna eat it as is. I don't need white rice with it right now. I'm just gonna try it. It is so good. I grabbed a piece of the ñame, the white yam. I love how it tastes. This is amazing. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. I'm so happy every time I make this. I love it. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. I really hope you try it. If you have any questions on what ingredients to use, if you can substitute any of the roots or vegetables that I use, please let me know in the comments. I'll try to respond to them. If you liked it, if you enjoyed it, please like and share and subscribe. I'm trying to post videos every Saturday.